everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge and welcome to my October TBR. So you remember a few months back, maybe it was the beginning of this year even, where I wanted to keep my TBR small. Well, we've said F you to that, and here's the thing, I'm okay with it because this month the vast majority, well, I guess maybe it's half of it. Half of this TBR is all buddy reads and commitments that I've made, but I'm very excited about all of them. So it doesn't feel quite the same as when I would come up with random rules for myself about what to read, and I'm really, really loving it. And so I'm super excited about this. I'm going to start with the buddy reads that I like, or that are going to be done in the month of October because they're books that I have the highest commitment to reading them. Then we also have a bunch of new September releases that they came out at the end of the month. So I may even have started some of them already by the time you see this. Also, the TBR that I'm not including in this is my TBR for the Kindle Clear Out Readathon, which has its own video, which should be up already because those books are going to cross into October, but they got their own TBR because they're going to be read within the week there. And even though like one of the books on there is going to work for the readathon, but the rest of these are just going to be the books that I'm taking on in October, and I'm very excited. I have a few, like paranormals tacked in here to read for October, but mostly it's just a lot of good, smutty goodness and some fantasy too. So again, let's get started with this, and we'll go through the ones that I need to get to. So the first two books that have to do with that are the books that we're buddy reading on my Discord. This is something I've been doing for quite a while now. I mean, I think we're going on like almost 2 years maybe that we've been doing this. I know it's been quite a while, and I love it. So what we do is we do 2 buddy reads that get voted on by my viewers monthly, and then if you're a part of my Discord, which the link is always down below in the description, it's a place where we can chat and hang out and do buddy reads, and we do 1 historical romance and then 1 other, which usually ends up being a fantasy book because I have a vast library of fantasy, new and old, that I want to get to someday. And when you guys vote on one, it encourages me a little more to get to it. Not that I always do, but I try. And then also a perk is the historical romance that we buddy read. We have a live show, and I've been having fellow booktubers and viewers join it with me, and it's been so much fun. We just did The Secret on The Secret by Julie Garwood is a book that we read for September, and we had the live show on the 20th. I think it was the 20th, and that was so much fun to read. And so the book for this month, if you didn't already see my announcement for that, or the one on my Instagram, is we'll be reading The Rogue of Fifth Avenue by Joanna Shupe. I've been kind of putting this book off for a while. The conclusion to this trilogy just came out a couple months ago, so I feel good about taking this book on so that I can hopefully maybe binge the entire series, maybe even this month if I really like this book. But this one is about I think he's not a lawyer, but he's like a power broker, or he serves the wealthy power brokers, and then the daughter of one of his clients keeps putting herself in like dangerous situations. This is a Gilded Age romance, which means it's in the late 1800s in this is 1891 in New York. So that's really cool. It takes place on like Broadway and things like that. So very excited to read this. If you want to join this buddy read, you of course don't have to join the Discord. You could just read it along with me and then, join the live show. But if you want to be engaged in the conversation, go ahead and jump into that Discord. We'd love to have you, and we can chat about it as we read it. The live show for this is, I'm planning for it to be October. It's going to be midway through the month. I think it's going to be October 18th, I think is what I've decided. I'll let you know. I'll post that on my Instagram, of course. But there's that. And then the other buddy read we picked, and this will just be one that we discuss as we do it. And if I end up finishing it, I'll write a good review for it. And that is The Beautiful by Renne, Ahdieh. I'm excited this one got picked for October. This is a paranormal vampire romance. I think it's a girl who she lives in a convent, And then there's someone named Sebastian Saint-Germain, and there's murders happening. And so this is a YA fantasy. And I actually already bought The Damned just in case I like it. And also they're gorgeous. I absolutely love this cover. It's really beautiful. There's a map of the French Quarter. And then there's also really pretty decal art. It's probably hard to see, but it's like a lion with a mask on. It's probably hard to see on my camera, but it's gorgeous. So I still do cover buy things sometimes, and I'm excited to give this a go. I haven't read many vampire novels that fit outside of like IAD lately, so I'm intrigued to get back into it. So those are the 2 books that are for my Discord buddy reads that I do with you guys. Then I have my Taboo book club that I do with my friend Tamika over at Library of Tomes. And for the month of October, if you didn't see our live show just the other day, we picked Captor Captive to be our taboo topic for October. And I am deciding to still kind of stick with like because the topic last month was like really heavy, and I feel like you can still do taboo without it being the darkest dark of the soul, which I think we discovered with Like Dragonflies, even though we had read the topic was incest. Like Dragonflies was a bit of a lighter, sweet romance still. But anyway, I picked for my pick because I want to get through the vast backlog of historical romances I have. I picked Forbidden by Elizabeth Lowell, which has a gorgeous step back, which is why I bought it. This dude is wearing a mustache and he's tanned and beautiful. And so this one came up when I typed in the Captor Captive list, and it was one that I owned, and it was a historical. And so this one is about a girl named Amber the Untouched, and she's seen as this chaste, golden-haired beauty, and she was prophesied to have a remarkable love at birth, and that once she found that love, that death would follow soon. So she's been trying not to fall in love with someone. And then they don't say the name of the guy, but it just says a wounded warrior. He doesn't have a memory. But he finds this girl and then is like instantly pulled to her. I guess his name is Duncan. And I guess they are like secretly enemies, but he maybe has amnesia and doesn't know that. And so then ends up like kidnapping her, I think. I don't know. I want to be pretty blind. I know just enough to know that it's a Captor Captive book. So will hopefully fit into our category. But I'm excited to read this one. I'm very excited for it. And then Tamika's pick for this, which she again just looked on a list for it, so she hasn't read this ahead of time, but she picked Whispers in the Dark by Leticia Newton. I haven't even read the synopsis for this one yet. We both just know that it's Captor Captive, and we're going to go for it. So if you want to be a part of our Taboo Book Club, we have that chat is within my Discord. So if you want to be a part of the Taboo Book Club, you can go ahead and join my Discord, and then you'll see a tab within there that's labeled Taboo Book Club, where we put recommendations, we chat about the books we're reading that month, and we go from there, which is really exciting. The live show for that was just the other day, this past Sunday on Tamika's channel. So if you want to hear us talk about incest and, you know, not just talk about the books we read, but we'll talk about the taboo topic itself and talk about how we actually have a line, and that line is a very interesting one for each of us. So go ahead and check that out. So now I want to move on to some buddy reads I'm doing with some individuals who I've just become friends with through the interwebs, and we have pretty similar tastes, and they're people who actually have said they've read things because of our relationship online, which just still like really humbles me. And whatever, it's just a weird thing if you're someone who's a booktuber and you still feel just like an itty bitty channel, and then to have someone be so excited to read a book with you, it's just weird and amazing. So I am reading 2 books with my friend Shay from Shay Geeks Out. We were absolutely fangirling together over a few things, and we decided to do a buddy read, and we ended up picking 2 books, and they were both historicals that I've had on my list for a while. So I'm very excited to be reading a lot of historicals in October. So the first one I've had on my list, I've tried to get it to win my poll for a few times, but I think because it's not a really popular, like nobody's ever heard of this one yet, that it doesn't get brought up. But I am collecting all of Sophie Jordan's books, and I found her debut novel. See, it even says debut author. This book came out in 2006, and it is called Once Upon a Wedding Night. It's beautiful. It doesn't have a step back, but like the cover just speaks for itself. It's gorgeous. And I love that it's her wedding dress. It's so beautiful. And so this one is about Lady Meredith Brookshire, and she is supposed to own Oak Run, but now she's suddenly husbandless and penniless, and where else would she, her addled father, and spinster aunt reside? Yet who should appear but Nicholas Caulfield, the new Brookshire heir, claiming the estate is rightfully his by law. The brute is as arrogant as he is handsome. Besides, he's supposed to be dead, and the only plan resourceful Meredith can devise to save her family from homelessness is a desperate scheme that may lead to her salvation or ruin and the bed of the man she has vowed to hate. A reluctant aristocrat, Nick, I love that he goes by Nick instead of Nicholas. I'm excited. Nick does not trust his fiery, infuriating chit whom he suspects of subterfuge, yet who bewitches him with her innocent eyes. The sooner he can get his tempting beauty married off to some stodgy old blue blood and off his hands for good, the better. There's just one slight problem, however. Nick can't bear the thought of her wedding any man but him. I love this kind of trope. I have seen this trope before in like the Wallflower Wager, where it's like, I need to get you married to somebody but not me, but then, nope, I'm kidding, I want you to marry me. And Shay wants to read a lot of Sophie Jordan's books, and so she agreed to find a copy of this one so we could read it together. So we're going to read Once Upon a Wedding Night together. Ooh, this matches my lipstick. I'm super excited. And then the other book I actually have on my Kindle because I bought it off of a Fated Mates recommendation, because there's this woman who, okay, so the book is called Bewitching by Jill Burnett. And this one was on the podcast when they were recommending, like, it had something to do with, like, she's accused of being a witch, but it's also a Regency romance. And so this man thinks that she put a love spell on him because he's, like, having insta-love feelings for her. But really, he just has insta-love feelings for her. It wasn't a spell. And I just love the idea of that. And I thought it would be a fun one to read in October as well. So we are also going to buddy read Bewitching, which should be super fun. Okay, and then one final pick for a buddy read, which was just decided upon right before I filmed this. I've also really been loving Crystal's Bookish Life, and we ended up chatting on Instagram about something, and I suggested, hey, do you want to do a buddy read together? We have really similar tastes, and she's like, oh my gosh, pick a book, I'd love to do it. And so I showed her a stack of some new releases that had just come out that I was planning to put in my TBR, and I was like, hey, pick one of these that you want to buddy read and we'll buddy read it. And so she picked, and I'm so excited she picked this one because I've never got a buddy read this kind of book with anyone before, and that is Lies and Lullabies by Serena Bowen. This just came out the last week in September, and this is the first in a new series by Serena Bowen, and I'm super excited. Serena usually writes sports romance. I've read pretty much all of her sports romance. I love her. But this is a new rock star. So it is like a star-crossed lovers. It's the first in the Hush Note series. And actually all three of them are coming out over the next like month. So there's this one, and then I don't even know the name of the next one. I should have written it down. But I'm hoping I love this because all three of them are going to come out. So this one says, once upon a time, he gave me a summer friendship, followed by one perfect night. We shared a lot during our short time together, but he skipped a few crucial details. I didn't know he was a rock star. I didn't know his real name. Neither of us knew I'd get pregnant, and I sure never expected to see him again. 5 years later, his tour bus pulls up in Nest Lake, Maine. My little world is about to be shattered by loud music and the pounding of my own foolish heart. So, I'll tell you one thing, and I think a lot of us feel this way. I hate secret babies, but the only way that I am okay with secret babies is when it was like a one-night stand and you don't know the person's real name. Okay, so I've read that done well a couple times, but it only works when there was no way they could find out. Like, I don't like Secret Baby when the woman deliberately hides it from someone, or like doesn't think that they trust the person enough to have it. But when it is like, I literally didn't know the person's name and had no way to contact them, I tend to think that it can be really fun, because we usually get a lot of like Insta dad going on, where not only is there a kid, but oops, this kid is 5 and I've missed out on everything. And I love to see a man kind of brought low by like fatherhood. So I'm excited to read it, and I trust Serena to change a perception of a trope that I don't always love. Also, the covers of this series are going to be great. Like, each one this is like a different color. And so I love that it's called like Lies and Lullabies, because doesn't that just make sense? Because he told a lie and now there's a kid who needs all that. Anyway, so Crystal and I are going to read this. Please go check out Crystal if you haven't before. And we will both share our thoughts with this later on. I'm super excited. Okay, so those are all the books that are buddy reads. Now I'm going to get into a stack of books that are all like, I just want to read them. A few of them are new releases. Some of them are rereads for me. And then we got a couple Katie Robert books, because if you didn't see my last one, I'm trying to make my way through Katie Robert's backlist, which is extensive because the woman's been writing books for a decade almost now, I think, and she pumps them out like crazy. So I've been scooping up her books where I can find them. So I'll start with the 2 Katie Roberts that I have on my list, and then we'll go through everything else. So the first one is, I want to read book 4 in the O'Malley series. It's funny because last month I said this book, but I was wrong about which number this was. So I actually read Indecent Proposals, and now I'm going to be reading Forbidden Promises, and I'm really excited because this one's about another daughter in the family finally, and I've been liking the daughter ones better. So Indecent Proposal, I only ended up giving 3 stars, which is probably the lowest rated Katie Robert that I've ever had. And part of it's my fault because I just wasn't in the mood for that type of mafia story. I wanted a grittier one and it just wasn't working for me. But this one is about Sloane O'Malley, who I think is the youngest daughter. I think so. And she is falling for Jude McNamara, who is trying to get revenge. Is it against her or someone else? I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm excited for book 4. I love how this guy looks too. I love his leather jacket. It's awesome. So that's a Katie Robert. And then I am going to be starting the Island of the Wise series of Y, not Wise. And this is His Forbidden Desire by Katie Robert. I've been wanting to start this book so much. Listen to the premise of this book and tell me what you think, okay? Princess Camilla Fitzcharles is willing to risk everything to escape her gilded cage of a life. She's secured an invitation to participate in the Wild Hunt, a deadly game hosted annually on the secret island of Wise. This year's prize is the one thing that can set her free. Cammy just has to survive long enough to win it. Luca has spent the last 15 years waiting for vengeance. Now the plans are in motion, and there's no going back. He couldn't have anticipated Cammy, though. She's an innocent, a reminder of the life that was stolen from him. Something to be protected, not leveraged in this dangerous game. This year, the Wild Hunt has changed. For the first time since the inception, an outsider is named the White Stag, the prey the rest of them hunt, and it's Cammy. She's on the run and in danger, and Luca will do anything to keep her safe. The person she needs the most protection from, him. So what I think that this is I believe he wants to get revenge against her family, I think, because she is a princess, and then she ends up being made the prey of this game, when really I think she wants to compete in the game, but now they're all hunting her instead. That's what I think. I haven't read any reviews for this. I just know it's Katie Robert, and I'm going to freaking read it, and I'm excited for this whole series. I want to be a Katie Robert expert, and I still have a long way to go. I've only read about half of her books, guys, and I feel like I talk about her all the time. But the thing is I talk about her new books coming out, and I need to catch up on that backlist. So we're going with this. Then this one I'm a bit nervous about, but I think I'm going to buy the audio for this, so it won't be too bad. But I want to read To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini. I want to read it before I see too many reviews come out, because I don't want to be spoiled for it or tainted by it or anything. Christopher Paolini, as you can see right here, I love the Aragon series. I think it was amazing. And I know that he's been working on this book for a very long time. And I've seen a lot of his interviews. He actually has his own YouTube channel. And I saw him on Daniel Green's channel, and he was on Murphy Napier's channel. And I love both of them so much. And I just think he's such a cool dude. And I feel like he's done a lot of studying and work on this story. He's almost a little cocky, but in that endearing way where he's also self-deprecating and cocky at the same time. And I just really like him. And so this is going to be an epic sci-fi. And so I'll read the blurb of this real quick. But I want to try to get to it, at least start it this month, if that makes sense. Like, I think I'm going to get the Audible and then just kind of poke away at it as I go. But this is like 800 pages, I think. Yeah, it's 800 pages. Okay. So Kira Navarez dreamed of life on new worlds. Now she's awakened a nightmare. During a routine survey mission on an uncolonized planet, Kira finds an alien relic. At first she's delighted, but elation turns to terror when the ancient dust around her begins to move. As war erupts among the stars, Kira is launched into a galaxy-spanning odyssey of discovery and transformation. First contact isn't all what she imagined, and events push her to the very limits of what it means to be human. While Kira faces her own horrors, Earth and its colonies stand upon the brink of annihilation. Now, Kira must be humanity's greatest and final hope. So, I think it's beautiful, and I want to read it. So, I'm going to make an attempt to start that this month at least. Then, because it is October, I wanted to add a few more paranormal to the mix. I already have The Beautiful, and I think that's the only one. But I recently found two of my teenage loves that were paranormals that I loved as a teenager. And I want to restart these series and maybe make my way through them. Okay, my friend Shay, who I mentioned at the beginning of this video, she has continued with both of these series, I guess. And she said that they kind of go through a second wind later on. And to be fair, I didn't understand these series as much as when I read them back then. So I'm going to read Dark Prince by Christine Feehan. This is the first in the Carpathian series. I read this book back in 8th grade. 8th grade. This first one, the Dark Prince, is about the prince of the Carpathian breed. And the thing with the Carpathians is if their males go dark, then they like turn into vampires basically, and then it's too late for them. So the Carpathian males, they like, once they go through puberty, they like live in this stasis of like frozen until they find their mate, and then their world like bursts into color. They feel their connection. They need to mate with their fated mate, and then they're able to stay in control of their powers and, you know, continue being who they are forever. But the thing is there hasn't been any children born in a very long time, let alone any new human, or I mean, they don't know that they can mate with humans yet. It hasn't been done. It's really hard to turn a female into a Carpathian without them dying. All those things stand in the way. And so this is about the prince, and he's right on the edge of going dark. And if he goes dark, their race is really like doomed. And it's just him and a few of his closest allies who are even left sane anymore, because everyone is slowly going insane as they age, and with there not being any new like I keep saying humans, not being any new mates for them to breed with and stuff. So I want to try to do this. This one also includes Dark Descent, which is after it. So this one's really only like this long, and then this is a novella at the end. So I want to try to get to this. We'll see. Then I also want to restart the Dark Hunter series, because I really loved this series. This has lots of gods and goddesses, and it has dark hunters who hunt the things that go bump in the night. But this is kind of like, it's not a prequel, but it's considered like number one in the Dark Hunter universe. But the real series starts with Night Embrace or Night Pleasures. Night Pleasures. So this one, it kind of works as a standalone too. Like, you don't have to continue on with the series because this has a cool premise. In case you haven't heard of Dark Lover, which there's a man in a book with a rose. And so this is what the back says. I'll just read this. Dear reader, being trapped in a bedroom with a woman is a grand thing. Being trapped in hundreds of bedrooms over 2,000 years isn't. And being cursed into a book as a love slave for eternity can ruin even a Spartan warrior's day. As a love slave, I know everything about women, how to touch them, how to savor them, and most of all, how to pleasure them. But when I was summoned to fulfill Grace Alexander's sexual fantasies, I found the first woman in history who saw me as a man with a tormented past. She alone bothered to take me out of the bedroom and into the world. She taught me to love again, and I was not born to know love. I was cursed to walk eternity alone. As a general, I had long ago accepted my sentence, yet now I have found grace, the one thing my wounded heart cannot survive without. Sure, love can heal all wounds, but can it break a 2,000-year-old curse? Julian of Macedon. So this was me and my friend Shauna's one of our favorite books as teenagers, and we passed it back and forth over and over again, and I want to get back into the series. But as it says, yes, Julian was cursed into a book, and so a woman can find the book and complete the ritual and then have him, and he literally stays with her for 2 weeks and just pleasures her senseless and then disappears at the end of that time. And he's just cursed. And when he's not in the book, he's basically trapped in a coffin, and it's quiet and just horrible. And anyway, it's amazing. It's an amazing book, and I'm really excited to reread it. I hope it holds up good. And I already have the first official book in the series, and I'm planning to maybe continue it if I vibe with everybody again. We'll see. All right, and then I have 3 newish releases that I just want to get to as soon as I can. I may, by the time you see this video, have already read one of them because I want to start it ASAP, but I thought I would show it. So I want to read You Had Me at Hola by Alexis Daria. If you haven't heard about this, this is about 2 telenovela stars, and they need to the guy really wants to keep his life out of the public eye because he has PTSD from a bad situation with fans in the past, with a stalker. And then there's this new girl who she's up and coming leading lady, and so she has made it her goal to not fall for another coworker because she's done that in the past, and she's tired of being known as the woman who falls in love with her coworker. But we'll see how well she does at that. I heard this is really good. There's lots of good rep in this one. This is a own voices. My friend Izzy really loved this. I just listened to it on one of the podcasts, and I really liked what they had to say about it, so I'm excited to try it. The Roommate by Rosie Danon. I wasn't going to pick this up because this kind of cover, I don't know how to feel about it. And then Katie Roberts started posting about it, and she said that don't let the cover fool you. This was a really cool forced proximity novel, that it was kind of Friends to Lovers, but it was really steamy and sexy and fun. And yeah, so I just went for it, and it looks really cute, and so I want to read that one really soon. And then the book that I'm planning to start ASAP is Tools of Engagement by Tessa Bailey. This is the 3rd book in the Hot and Hammered series. I don't know if it's going to be the final book or if it's the conclusion to the series or whatever, but I loved both Fix Her Up and Love Her or Lose Her. I loved them both so much, and I'm so excited to hear about this one because I've been seeing there was tension between these 2 characters in the last book. So this book is about Bethany and Wes. And he has, I think it's his niece. I don't know if it's his daughter. I think it's his niece. And she gets invited to be on this thing called Flip Off. And she ends up needing someone to be her partner. And so Wes and her end up doing it together. So, if you really like HGTV and working on houses together, this could be really fun. But they already have this kind of hate to love thing going on, and it's already really obvious to everyone that they're really attracted to each other. And I just think it's going to be so fun, and I'm totally going to start reading this really soon. But I want to put it on my TBR so that you hear about it and know about it. And I'm sure I'm going to start recommending this video like gangbusters. Looks like I have the other two, because Tessa Bailey, she brings the story and she brings the heat. Like Fix Her Up and Love Her or Lose Her are some steamy, sexy times. And I love that. I love that so much. So, okay, this TBR video ended up being super long because I rambled about everything. But these are all the books that I have plans for / really want to read in the month of October. Let me know which ones you're excited about. Join the buddy reads for some of these. Check out my Discord. Check out the Discord for Romance Booktube. There's a link to that in my description. Find other booktubers to follow. Find other people to do buddy reads with you. I'm making a stack of these books and it's going to be really tall. So yeah, I'm sure a lot of you are maybe doing some spooky reads for October. I don't really do this spooky. I have some paranormal on my list, but that's about as far as I go. I don't go to the spook levels. But yeah, this is the biggest TBR I've had this year. So that's happening. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Oh, one other thing I have to show you. Sorry. I don't know if any of you watch Yellowstone, which is a TV show on Paramount, but I got this t-shirt off of Etsy, which says Yellowstone Dutton Ranch. I love this TV show. Kevin Costner is in it. So if you were seeing this and thinking, oh, she's been to Yellowstone, no. This is my fictional love. Beth Dutton is my spirit animal. I wouldn't be quite as bitchy as her, but it would be fun to try for a day. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Check out my links in the description if you're interested, and check out my playlist at the end if you want to watch more videos. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Bye.